Hey, this is James Madison. I'm in my garden this morning and I'm going to show you guys a recipe that I'm going to make. Every morning I wake up and as part of my normal ritual, I think about how I'm going to be healthier that day. And this is what I want you to do too. So let me show you what we got. Okay, this is my 6.5 foot collard green plant, collard green tree. I'm going to pick some fresh leaves this morning for my green smoothie. Look at these beautiful Swiss chard leaves.
Hello, I'm Mr. Shirtadu.
We want to get a variety of colors in our diet. So we're going to pick some purple and some green. Look at these beautiful leaves. So we're going to blend up all these leaves in our banana smoothie. Okay, see you inside. Alright, so why am I taking these collard greens and this Swiss chard fresh from my garden in the morning? Because I want to get this huge amount of micronutrients into my body, first thing. And one of the reasons is I want to prevent cancer, I want to prevent inflammation, I want my brain to function properly, and I want to have the best day that I can. And I want my immune system to be really strong too. But I want to prevent cancer. And how do I do this? Well, these contain compounds to help us prevent cancer. More specifically, when these are chewed, it has to be raw for this to occur. Now, when these are chewed, blended, cut up raw, or juiced, there's compounds called isothiocyanates that are created. Because there's an enzyme called myrosinase that acts on glucosinolates. Now, the glucosinates are in here, and the myrosinase enzymes are in here as well. When they're chopped up and it's exposed to the water and the air, the enzyme, not necessarily the air, but the water mixed with the myrosinase enzyme creates the isothiocyanates. Now, why are isothiocyanates important? They act on our body to help our body detox. Now, our body has what's called its phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 detox. Particularly, that's mostly done in our liver. Now, we want our body to be detox of toxins that we're picking up during the day, like from car exhaust, from like chemical perfumes, from plastics, things like that. We get those out of our body, it helps stop the cancer, because these toxins are what actually create cancer. Alright, so this is a little bit more advanced for this video. I'm going to do a separate video on that altogether. Oh, one more thing that I'm really excited about. Besides the isothiocyanates that you get from preventing cancer, you've got a huge amount of vitamin K in here. Now, vitamin K is a great anti-inflammatory. You've got vitamin A, you've got vitamin C, you have like tons and tons of micronutrients that you're going to get out of this smoothie that you're not going to get in a multivitamin. Now, multivitamins are like 21 vitamins and minerals, say, for example. That's just a small fraction of the micronutrients that you're going to get by consuming whole foods like this. All right, so I'm going to chop these up. I just want to show you the amount we have here. This is in my blender. It barely fits in there. So one of the reasons why I chop this up is this is now going to activate the enzymes, the myrosinase enzyme, so I can generate the isothiocyanates. Now, you can also just throw this in the blender directly and chop it up and blend it. And the thing is, by chopping it this way, you're getting a little bit more enzyme activity because the enzyme's not dissolved from the water. So this is a huge amount of greens. And what we're going to do is we're going to throw this whole thing in the blender. The other thing I add to my smoothie is I like to add chia seeds, because chia seeds are very high in omega-3s in the form of alpha-linoleic acid, which your body has to create EPA and DHA from. But there's another separate video I'm going to do on that altogether. I throw in about a tablespoon or 2 tablespoons of chia seeds. And then I'm going to add enough water so it blends. Okay, I'm going to blend this down a little bit. And then I'm going to add bananas and dates. Actually, I'm going to put it on high and just liquefy these cruciferous vegetables in here. Okay, there you got it. We've got liquid, collard greens, and Swiss chard. Now it's very bitter smelling. That's actually from the glucosinolates in the bitter greens that give that bitter flavor. So one thing I do to cover up the bitterness of this smoothie is I add a whole bunch of cinnamon. Now I love cinnamon because besides just giving it a nice flavor, cinnamon is good to help control your blood sugar. Now I put a huge amount here because I love it. It just tastes good to me. I'm going to throw in here 5 ripe bananas. Make sure your bananas have black dots that they're ripened. Now they're not mushy and they're not overripe. I don't like it like that. But they're definitely not green. And you know that they're ripe also because when you peel them, the stems just come right off really easily. That's another way to tell your banana's ripe, besides having black dots. So I throw in 5 bananas. I usually have a little bit more luck peeling bananas, but I'm doing this in a hurry for this video. And I'm going to add some quick release carbohydrates because this is a morning drink and I'm going to do some exercising right away and I need to make sure I have some glucose in my blood and some energy. So I'm going to add 3 dates. Now this is a good chance to add some other things to your smoothie if you want. For my daughter, I'd go ahead and I'd throw her vitamin B12 right in there. I just take my vitamin B12 supplement because I don't have a problem swallowing it. Okay, now for the bananas, we're going to just blend them up at a low speed because we don't really want to, we want to keep the bananas more of a solid substance and rather than blend the heck out of bananas. Put it on low speed. That's it. That's all the bananas need. As long as they're not any more solid pieces in there. All right, here we go. Let's taste it. That's very good. You know, it's still a little bit bitter, but because I put a huge amount of greens in there today. Now, I also recommend the same exact smoothie with kale. In fact, kale is one of my favorite greens that I use for my smoothie. I've got a guest here on my show. And what is your name? It's just
Mr. Shadadu.
Mr. Shadadu? Okay, we have Mr. Shadadu on our show today. Do you want to try this?
Sure.
Okay, now this is a lot more kale and this is actually, I have collard greens and Swiss chard. And then when I make it for you, I make it with kale. So I don't know if this is going to be a little bit too bitter for you. So, you know, for her, I would use a little bit less, honestly.
There's little water in there.
Oh, I have water in there. Okay, let me get another container. I didn't know we were going to have a guest on our show today.
Yes, I'm Mr. Shadadu.
Mr. Shadadu. Now don't get this on your mustache, Mr. Shadadu. Now I know it's going to be a little more bitter than normal. So just tell me if you think you could drink that. This is the ultimate test, by the way. She's being cautious. A little more bitter than before, right? Than usual. Not too bad? How is it?
Kale is chunky.
A little bit chunky?
Yes.
That's up the dates that are chunky?
Kale is chunky.
Oh, the kale's chunky. Okay, so I could have, it's actually not kale, it's collard greens. And Swiss chard. So I could have blended it a little bit more. Well, it's good for me. For her, I'm gonna make her another one with a little bit less. And I'm gonna use kale, it's not as bitter.
And also, before you end this video, you remember me, I'm Mr. Shadadu.
Yeah, it's Mr. Shadadu. Now you can also go to alexaknows.com.
Yes, go
and
there.
you can see Mr. Shadadu some more.
Mr. Shadadu is a very nice, Alexa's very nice girl.
Okay, so the most important thing here is that we're getting this nutrients first thing in the morning. Now this is not the only thing I'm going to have for breakfast. This is just the start. This is loaded with lots of sugars and carbohydrates to get me going. And I'm going to have separate videos on what else I eat for breakfast besides my lunch and other things I eat for dinner to make my body function the best, to help me stay thin, to help me stay muscular, and help me feel its best. Help me feel my best.
Yes. You remember me, Mr. Shadadu.
Okay, and don't forget Mr. Shadadu.
Yes.
And go to alexaknows.com to see Mr. Shadadu.
Always see me, Mr. Shadadu. And also I'm gonna grow some more eyebrows.
Okay. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. I'm Mr. Shadadu, by the way. Bye.
Okay, where'd Mr. Shadadu go?
I have no idea, that's so weird.
That's weird, he's gone.
Mr. Shadadu says that you should subscribe to this YouTube channel. Peace out.